Welcome to RuckU News, episode 3. Got to terribly English this week. Well, I suppose we should get on and talk about elves, so to speak. Elves, what I want to know is the obvious question is, who's driving this? Because that answers everything, doesn't it? I'm not one for detail, but I noticed that nowadays, apparently, well, not that if you use the new rules, if you don't like line outs, you can just put two guys in there, and if they start rolling, well, you can just drop it, pull it down. Brilliant. I mean, I would hate to think that people driving this don't have good forward packs or can't win games. So my solution would be to the elves is just carry on with the same rules, and at the end of cup games, let's decide who played the prettiest rugby and who deserves it more, and they can win the game. We could take away scoreboards, we could take all that, drop goals, all that sort of stuff. You know, I mean, it's immaterial, isn't it? Who scores the most points? Who plays the prettiest rugby? I think that's what it's all about. We could have a panel of judges. It'd be like who comes dancing. Go put up cards. You know, All Blacks 5, England 2.5, and the All Blacks could win. I think we'd all be terribly happy. Obviously, if they ever got a decent pack or a brain, we could change the rules again. Upcoming tours, a few injuries coming, aren't there? England have lost Vickery, Wilkinson, Shaw. Wales have now lost Henson, as well as Peel looks doubtful, and Phillips has gone. Mind you, Wales, eh? 2 tests at altitude, eh? Now, a lot of you had to go at my accents. They're my accents, you know what I mean? It's like, I've been taught, I've been written, I should say Cardiff. Cardiff. The only thing I know how to say in Welsh, right, is I fucking hate you, Carling, because I used to hear it all the fucking time, so I can say that really well. I fucking hate you, Carling. Anyway, so my accents are back to New Zealand, South Africa. Right, so they're playing 2 tests at altitude there, in God's country. Lovely. True story, sad but true. We were there, 95 World Cup, just thinking of altitude. And obviously we've got all our fitness guys in the build-up, doctors, all that, talking to us about altitude, effect it has on you, all this sort of stuff. So we had special training, can't remember what it was, obviously I didn't do it. All that, and we arrived, but we were based in Durban for our pool games. So we arrived, flew in, arrived at the hotel, overlooking the beach, very nice. Had the usual bollocks, you know, welcome to our country, eh? You know, isn't it beautiful? We're great, we can't speak very quickly, but we're really nice. Went through all that, but thanks, yeah, hi, nice to be here. Decided we'd go for a bit of a run, get the journey out of our system before we could train the next day. So down, local park, beach there, very nice, do a few laps, for about a K, and we're stretching off. I was knackered. Stretching off, and Victor Abugan comes down and stretches next to Sandy for him, Brian Moore, that's Dean Richards, and he goes, he said, tell you what, I didn't listen to Rex, who was our fitness guy, when he was talking about the altitude stuff. He said, but jogging around here, he said he's right, isn't he? He said, I'm knackered. I'm absolutely knackered. Altitude's killing me. We all looked at him and went, yeah, Vic, we must be at least 12 foot here. Carter, I see, has been offered a sabbatical from New Zealand, but please come back. So he's been allowed to go, the only bloke so far doing it. But I also wanted to read you, I saw it from the Times, Stephen Jones got, I mentioned it briefly last time, New Zealand's appraisal of the World Cup, and I didn't realise that they had appointed a firm of solicitors to look into why they lost the World Cup. And this is their report. Stephen Jones puts, this week's hilarious moment was the production of what was meant to be a grave, serious and in-depth report by a company of grave and serious New Zealand lawyers into the grave and serious failure of New Zealand to reach any serious round of the 2007 Rugby World Cup. At vast expense, so they say, the report was finally surfaced. There are reams of it, and blame is laid at various doors, including the rather silly decision of Graham Henry not to allow his players simply to play rugby in the season before the tournament. Yep. There is also a stupefyingly boneheaded tactical approach of the All Blacks towards the end of the deserved defeat at the hands of France. Yep. But then stunningly, or predictably, whichever way you want to look at it, the good old referee is blamed. Wayne Barnes, public enemy #1, the grave and serious lawyers simply cannot resist the utterly preposterous and demeaning notion that New Zealand were refereed out of the World Cup. So even New Zealand lawyers blame the referee. Other point that's hitting news is who's going to be England captain. Mick Cleary. Mick Cleary's got his opinions. And God, they're interesting. He's thinking Borthwick, Tyndall, Haskell or Stevens. He's going for Tyndall. Borthwick, not sure Borthwick's got it at test level, I have to say. Tyndall, great guy. Whether he's still got the pace and the gas, all that sort of stuff. Haskell and Stevens, wow, who knows? I tell you what though, it's all about attitude. And for me, you see, people hate the English. And it's not hard to understand. You can't blame them really. And when I was first captain, I thought one of the things we had to do was get that attitude right. Get that passion. We had to hate them back. So for me, whoever becomes England captain, as long as the team has that sort of attitude, and John had it, when he told the Irish Prime Minister to start off. You've got to have that. And I thought we'd cracked it. I mean, we'd been a bit soft. It sort of came home to me when we'd done it. When we went back up to Scotland, geez, way back in 91, having lost there in 90, or being beaten, to be fair, in 90, we went back up and they stuck us in the middle of Edinburgh. Very polite to us. So we spent the whole week there being abused, and we ran out of Murrayfield. Lovely warm welcome, as always. But you had to line up because Princess Anne always turns up to their games, and you don't want to meet anyone before a game. But for me as captain, it was always quite nerve-wracking because you didn't know how the forwards would behave. Backs was fine. Rob Andrew, Rory Andrew, they were very well behaved, thinking New Year's honours, that sort of thing. But the forwards, you never knew. So as if you didn't have enough on your plate, you had to sort of. So I took Princess Anne down past Rob and Rory, who were brown-nosing, and got past Wade Dooley, and everything was going okay. And I was thinking, that's quite good. I could almost relax. When I heard this scream. And I didn't realise, I looked round and her little son, Peter Phillips, was following. And he must have been 8 or 9 at the time. And he was standing opposite Wade looking at basically what was left of his hand. So I finished this off, and she went off to meet the Scots, and we sang the anthems, and we were running off to kick off. And I ran past Wade, and I said, Wade, what the hell happened? He said, I crushed the bastard's hand. I said, Wade, he's 8 years old. He said, well, he's fucking Scottish. I love that. So if we get attitude, England captain, we'll be fine. Anyway, until next week, have a great time. It'll be interesting to read Anne Pinson's continuing views on homosexuals and priests. And let's see if she's there next week. Have fun.